Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It looks like Dani Olmo is on his way to becoming an FC Barcelona player. The reports have been coming out over the past couple hours. Again, not the most reliable reporting, but it's out there that apparently Deco is very keen on bringing in the Spanish international this summer. He's talking with Leipzig about finding out a fee. He's talking to his agent. So it looks like Barca are advancing in talks to bring him in. Also, Hansi Flick gave the okay to bring in Dani Olmo as well. So, you know, things are happening. They're happening in Barcelona. But for me, man, I don't know about you guys, this to me makes no fucking sense. And it just shows why this club has been such a dumpster fire for the past several years. Because the structure of this club is non-existent and the priorities for this club are non-existent. It doesn't make any sense to me, man. It was the same way when Xavi was in charge, and now it's the same way with Hansi Flick. Everybody wants somebody different. Hansi Flick wants this guy, but Deco wants this guy, and Joan Laporta wants this guy. Why don't we just bring in people that the manager fucking wants? Bring in players that the manager wants. If you like them as well, obviously, like it's a collective thing, but if Hansi Flick wants somebody and you guys think, oh, that could help the squad, why argue with him and be like, no, we can bring in this guy? Just let the man present the vision and you guys just follow it. Just trust Hansi Flick. You trusted Xavi at times with signings, other times not so much, but just trust the manager. What matters, like, you gotta have players that the manager wants. Because when you bring in players that the manager doesn't want, you know what happens? We get a Vitor Roque situation. You don't play them. Like, what happened to, like I said, where are the priorities for this club? What happened to the pivot? What happened to the left wing? We get linked to all these players. Merino, Angelo Stiller, Nico Williams, Rafael Leao. We get linked to all these players. Fucking Dani Olmo. What happened to getting linked to a pivot? What happened to Subimendi? What happened to Onana? What happened to Weifer? What happened to all these players? We want a fucking pivot and a left winger. We don't need Dani Olmo. I'm so sick of this, man. Deco is all over the place, and Joan Laporta is all over the place. Like, people love to dick ride Joan Laporta so much just because he's not Bartomeu, and that's great. Joan Laporta is a great figure in Barcelona, but man, some of the decision making in this club is all over the place. Dani Olmo, who's injury prone, is not a left winger. He's more like a false nine, pseudo can type of thing. Like, we already have that. We already have Joao Felix, who kind of plays our role. Joao Felix is not a left winger. He kind of plays our role. Ferran Torres, to me, is better centrally as well. We already have players like that. We need a left winger. A winger in general, actually. Because I would be okay with a right winger too, so we can give Lamine Yamal some rest. But you need a winger, and Dani Olmo's not a winger. And not to mention, he's extremely injury prone. He's extremely injury prone. Oh, also, Luis Diaz as well. Like, getting linked to Luis Diaz. I think Luis Diaz is a fantastic player. He's actually a left winger, so I would be more okay with Luis Diaz over Dani Olmo. But still, Nico Williams. Go get fucking Nico Williams. He's good enough to play for Barca. Like, do I think Luis Diaz now is a better player than Nico Williams? Sure, I do think that. Because Luis Diaz has been doing it at Liverpool over the past couple years, and he's a really, really good player. I think he's a great player, actually. But Nico Williams is younger. You can actually garner a bigger fee for him once you sell him. You're not going to get that from Luis Diaz. If you keep him for 4 years, he's going to be 31. If you keep Nico Williams for 4 years, he's going to be 26. He's still going to be entering the prime of his career. And the same thing with Dani Olmo, who misses like 70% of the games that he's supposed to play. He's always injured. It's like everybody's been mentioning, and shout out to them, but it's Ferran 2.0. That's what it is. It's Ferran 2.0. You don't need Dani Olmo. Please, man. This is so stupid. If this reporting is actually true, I'm going to be so disappointed in this club, man. Because it's nonsensical to bring in a guy like Dani Olmo. You need a winger. Dani Olmo's not a winger. He's really not. He plays on the left. He can play on the left, but he's better centrally. He's just a better player centrally. And we already have a lot of central options. Like, if you're going to bring in an interior, wait for Xavi Simons. Or you have Fermin. You have Fermin who can play as an interior as well, who we see can score the goals. You don't need to go out and splurge money on Dani Olmo, who's going to cost, what, 60? That's the same thing that I think Nico's release cost is 58. I'd rather pay for Nico than Dani Olmo. Like, and if Dani Olmo comes in, that means that someone is leaving. And I swear, if that someone is Rafinha, I'm going to lose my fucking shit. I'm going to lose my shit. If Dani Olmo comes in, but Rafinha gets sent out of the club, I'm going to be, I don't know. I would be very upset if that's the case. Because that makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. I'm sorry for the rant. I'm usually not this angry, but I kind of am when I'm talking about Barca. I just can't, I get really riled up. I can't help it. But I think most of you guys watching this video, I mean, you guys agree with what I'm saying because we've seen this before. All of us Barca fans have seen this over the past couple years and we're sick of it, man. The priorities are not there. Luis Diaz, Dani Olmo, fucking Rafael. No, bring in a pivot, bring in a left winger. Bring in, most importantly, a winger. Most importantly, a pivot. I'll be fine if Barca don't sign the best left winger ever. I'll be fine if we don't sign Nico Williams. But I need a pivot. Barca needs a pivot. Not a ball, like a ball-winning midfielder is great. but we need an actual pivot. Someone who can sit right in front of the back line and help the team defend transition and get out in transition and all those things and hold that structure for Barca at the back. And right now, we don't have that. We have Oriol Romeu, who's simply one of the worst players I've ever seen. I'm sorry if you're a Romeu fan. I know there's a lot of them out there. He's just not great, is he? He's just not great. But again, for me, the whole thing with Dani Olmo makes no sense to me because it seems like Barca are so eager to try and make this like big splash, big money signing. And if you're going to go out and get a player like this, at least go for someone that at least stays on the pitch. Dani Olmo doesn't play, bro. He's always hurt. I'm going to keep saying it because it's true. He's always fucking hurt. It's the story of his career. He's always injured. So you're going to go out and splurge and bring in big money for a guy who's always hurt, who plays a position that you don't really need, and when he plays out wide, he's not really that effective. When you can just go out and get a young player like Nico Williams who already has rapport with some of your youngsters because they play in the same national team. Obviously, Dani Olmo plays for Spain as well, but he's a little bit older. Like, just bring in Nico Williams. Not Dani Olmo, please, man. And I'm not saying Dani Olmo is a bad player. I think on his day, he's a really, really good player. But this obsession with it, and like, Deco, bro, like, I'm getting sick of Deco. I'm getting sick of Deco and the way it seems like he always wants to be a protagonist. He always wants to be the star of the show. It seems like Barca have all these guys that always want to be the star of the show. They want to be the ones that are in the front, the headlines of the newspapers and all this stuff. Why don't we just go out and get players that we actually need? Let's have an actual good transfer policy in place because it seems like we're not like the Barca's transfer policy right now is like me when I'm playing FIFA in my career. Oh, let me just look on Google. Who are the best youngsters in the world? Okay. Oh, here, these are the kids with the most potential in FIFA 23. I'm gonna go and sign them all, and then I'm gonna build a super team in 10 years. That's obviously great on FIFA, but that's not a transfer strategy. You need actual players that can help you, and you need to do that with the manager. Who is the manager telling you to sign? Do you guys think this guy can help the team? Okay, then bring him in. I know Barca are obviously they don't have the most money. They can't just go out and sign whoever. But I think the options that Hansi Flick is offering are good, and the fact that Hansi Flick is okay with the Dani Olmo signing. I don't know about that. I think Hansi Flick, he's made a lot of good choices since he got to the club. I think the stalling of the renewal of Sergio Roberto was something that was huge for me. That's something that I really, when I looked at that, I was like, this guy means business. The way that he's conducted himself since he got to Barca, the whole new training staff, all these different things I think are amazing. I think the way that he's been talking about guys like Angelo Stiller, guys like that who he's been scouting for a long time. He wants to use the La Masia players. He has a plan for Vitor Roque. All this stuff really makes me happy. But then when I see that he's okay with Dani Olmo, I'm like, what are you guys seeing that you think this is the guy that we need right now? How are we getting linked to wingers before we get linked to a pivot? I want to be hearing about us talking to Onana from Everton or to Zubimendi from Real Sociedad or Weifer. Anybody, just bring in anybody that's an actual good pivot. If Barca can get a pivot, this team can change drastically, and that's what we need. We don't need Dani Olmo, who again is not, and he's not a winger, and he's always injured. Please, man, let's get this shit right. This is a very important transfer window for Barcelona, and the club cannot afford to just get this wrong, because the health of the club's future depends on, like, honestly, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but it largely depends on what you do this season. You need a good season. You can't go out, like, you bring in Hansi Flick, the fans are hyped. Obviously, you kick Xavi at the back door, which obviously, I wasn't happy with the way that Xavi left, but I was happy that he left. And now we're looking for something, Barca, like, everybody talks about Arteta at Arsenal. Arsenal and Barcelona are not the same thing. I apologize if you're an Arsenal fan. They're not the same club. Arsenal can go through a rebuild and be kind of, like, irrelevant for, like, 4 or 5 years. Barcelona can't do that. We can't do that. We tried that with Coleman and Setien and it went to shit. The club just almost went bankrupt, bro. Barca need to be good. You need to be good. You need to be competing for trophies. And the way that you're going to do that is not bringing in Dani Olmo, who doesn't play and doesn't play a position that you need. You know how you're going to do that? You're going to do that by bringing in players that actually fill gaps in your team, like a pivot, like a left winger. Oh, maybe Nico Williams and maybe Joshua Kimmich. Bring in fucking Joshua Kimmich. I don't give a fuck, man. Just bring somebody in. Again, Kimmich wouldn't be my number one choice. I made that very clear. But I need a pivot. Please, and get linked to actual good pivots. It's always Kimmich, it's always Luis Diaz, it's always these aging players. Why can't we just go out and get a youngster? I'm not trying to glaze right now, but why can't we go out and get a fucking Tchouaméni, bro? Why can't we go out and scout some kid from the French league who's a great pivot and bring him in? That's what Real Madrid did with him, and the same thing with Camavinga. Imagine if we had a Tchouaméni on our team right now. How fucking good we would be. So for me, again, no disrespect to Dani Olmo because, again, I think he's a decent player, but it's just not good enough. It's not good enough from the board. It's not good enough from the higher ups at Barca, which, you would think that they kind of have learned their lesson over the past couple years, but it seems like they haven't learned anything. And again, I'm getting sick and tired of Deco and him wanting to be the protagonist and him kind of imposing his will on everybody, man. On everybody. He wants to impose his will. He wants to impose his signings. He wants to bring in whoever he wants to bring in. No consideration for anybody else. I want to bring in this guy, so we'll bring him in. Bro, you got to talk to the fucking manager. And I'm sick of it, bro. I think the reason why, and look, man, Deco, I'm not a big fan of Deco. And it also, guys, we got to make sure that we understand this as well. And again, I'm not trying to shit on him too much because he is the president of Barcelona. I'm talking as if he's the president of fucking like the United States or like my country. Like, hey, who gives a fuck? And Joan Laporta, obviously the president of Barcelona, who's been a pivotal piece to Barcelona becoming the team that they are. I mean, if it wasn't for Joan Laporta, Barcelona not where they are right now. But the fact of the matter is, Joan Laporta brought in Deco because he's mostly a yes man. That's why he brought him in. Joan Laporta likes yes men. He doesn't like being called out publicly, like we saw when it happened with Xavi. The second Xavi kind of went off the tracks, Joan Laporta was like, you know what? It's done. You're getting sacked. And Hansi Flick, I hope that when they met and they obviously talked about this signing and him becoming the manager, I hope that Hansi Flick kind of let him know, because I don't think Hansi Flick is a guy who's just saying yes to everything. I think he has a strong enough personality. He's won enough, because Xavi came in with nothing. Xavi came in being a former Barca player and he had won nothing. He had managed in Qatar. Hansi Flick is coming in with a sextuple behind him. He can look at Joan Laporta's face and say, other than Pep Guardiola, the other only manager that's managed to win 6 trophies in a single in a football season or in a year has been me. So I think Hansi Flick has a strong enough personality to where he can come in and kind of impose his will. But again, it seems like Joan Laporta is just interested in hiring yes men. Again, I think the appointment of Hansi Flick doesn't really correlate with that, but the other things that he's done, it does kind of go hand in hand with him just wanting people that kiss his ass all the time, and the firing of Xavi kind of proved that as well. So again, that's just my opinion. I've been yapping for too long now. My summary for this video: no Dani Olmo, because he's older and injury prone, and he doesn't play. He's not a good enough winger. He's more suited to play centrally, and also let's start getting linked to some left wingers. Let's start getting linked to some pivots. The second that I see Barcelona are advancing in talks with Subimendi or Amadou Onana or fucking Matt Schweifer, I'll be happy. Or even Joshua Kimmich, like I said. The second that I see Barca are advancing in talks with Nico Williams, I'll be happy. Stop trying to look for all these other positions. Get a pivot, get a left winger, and then go out and get a right back. If you want to bring in Joshua Kimmich to play him at right back, sure, but also make sure you go out and get Onana, maybe. Come on, guys. We can do this, man. Barca, I don't know, who the fuck am I talking to? Well, come on, guys. We can do this. Like, I'm hyping up the fucking team. Like, you're not the coach, buddy. Anyway, I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for watching. That was so... Come on, guys. We can do this. Let's go out there and win. I don't know what that was. I'm talking for too long now. This video's been too long. I'm starting to lose my mind. If you made it this far into the video, let me know in the comment section down below. I don't know, comment grapefruit or some shit. I don't know, comment something, because I understand most people don't make it this far into the video. But if you just saw that little episode I just had, which is stupid as fuck, let me know in the comment section down below. But anyway, I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.